So DanDaDan Season 2 has finally come to an end. DanDaDan over 1 year has very quickly taken the anime world by storm, becoming one of the most popular anime out there. It's hilarious, wacky, random as hell romance comedy vibes being a breath of fresh air in this era of the dark shonen like JJK, Chainsaw Man, and Demon Slayer. Hello everyone, I'm Finn. Welcome back to finnfilms. Today we are going to be covering all of DanDaDan Season 2 in a nutshell, where I will be taking all of the videos that I have made over every single episode of Season 2 and putting them all together in a completely epic DanDaDan Season 2 speedrun. From wild giant worm shenanigans, Gigi getting possessed, insane kaiju versus mech battles, and of course the ever-blossoming adorable relationship of Okarun and Momo. This is DanDaDan Season 2 in a nutshell. Where we last left off at the end of Season 1, Momo's childhood friend Gigi had come to ask her for help, investigating his cursed home in a small rural onsen town. Gigi and Okarun both having kind of this friendly little rivalry about who is more into Momo. But they actually end up becoming friends with one another. Momo then sets off to go bathe in an onsen and have a little chillax time. And as someone who used to live in a little Japanese onsen town for about a year, holy fuck, do I miss going to onsen. I'm extremely jealous, Momo. While Okarun and Gigi decide to have a little bonding, accidentally breaking a hole in the wall, discovering a strange weird room plastered in weird tome-like spiritual papers. Meanwhile, Momo finds herself in trouble as a group of strange men join her in the onsen, where she finds out that this is in fact a co-ed onsen. Jesus, man. Like, as much as I love this anime, it is definitely, sus as fuck sometimes. So then we pick up here in Season 2, Episode 1, as we watch Momo have to fend off an attack, basically, from this group of freaky-ass men, who we learn are known as the Kito family. Momo having to use her powers to beat the shit out of them, ultimately being saved by Turbo Granny, who snuck into Momo's bag. Meanwhile, back at the house, Gigi and Okarun are absolutely freaking out about the hole in the wall when suddenly the doorbell rings. The two of them rushing to the door thinking that this is Momo, only to see a group of weird-ass old ladies. As we learn that this is the matriarchal, the female side of the Kito family, who then Gigi informs us are the owners of the house who were only renting the house to his family. They too are completely sus as fuck, but simultaneously are actually kind of hilarious and also completely unhinged, but again, this is DanDaDan. As we watch them threaten Gigi, worried about Gigi contacting a spiritual medium to come and check out the house. Yeah, that's definitely not sus at all. The matriarch of the family even holding them at gunpoint. Suddenly, though, a policeman comes inside the house, creating this really kind of funny, awkward standoff, only for the guys of the Kito clan to come inside, it being revealed that this policeman works for them. One of the Kito clan questions Okarun and Gigi, Gigi claiming that Okarun is his best friend who just came to visit. The two of them thinking they got away with this lie, only for the family to ask about the missing girl that joined them. Gigi, again lying, saying he doesn't know who the girl is, when suddenly the scene shifts dramatically. Meanwhile, Momo is exploring the town, checking out a shrine that Okarun said was for a Tsuchinoko, which is a legendary snake-like creature from kind of Japanese folklore and mythology. Momo goes and talks to the monk at the shrine, who desperately wants to be a YouTuber. Yeah, I feel your pain on that one, bro. This monk revealing to her that the shrine does actually not have a great snake-like lizard creature. That long ago, this town used to believe that a giant snake-like creature resided inside of a volcano, and in order to satiate this massive snake's hunger and prevent volcanic eruptions, they would sacrifice a child every year. As such, they believed they could then enjoy the onsens and not suffer from volcanic eruptions. However, sooner or later, the townsfolk then realized that this was just a story and a folktale, meant to keep people in fear and to commit horrible sins, specifically sacrificing children. Momo then, disappointed, arrives back at the house to find Gigi and Okarun unconscious, having been beaten up by the family. The creepy men then jump Momo again in their underwear, forcing her to fight for her life, Momo kicking some major creeper ass. Until finally she meets her match with the Kito family matriarch. This fight scene was like both equal parts badass and also absolutely ridiculous yet hilarious at the same time. Honestly, I think that's kind of one of my favorite things about like DanDaDan as a whole as an anime is how this anime is somehow manages to balance like awesome kick-ass, intense, cool action scenes with like insanely over-the-top ridiculous comedy. Momo puts up a good fight, but finally she gets knocked into the strange room, as the ground begins to swallow her up like quicksand. Here, the Kito family reveals that they are worshippers of this great serpent-like being, that their family has been making sacrifices to this beast going back hundreds of years, and that this house was the same building that was once the shrine to the serpent all those years ago. Momo was like, what the fuck, these people are absolutely batshit insane, as she literally just learned that the tales of the snake are all just a fairy tale. Meanwhile, though, she is sinking into the sand. Suddenly, though, Okarun and Gigi come to the rescue, pushing the family into the room as well. All of them dogpiling in together as suddenly the floor collapses, all of them falling down into a strange pit below the house. When they are then shocked to see an actual massive serpent-like creature that apparently has been just living below this house. Okarun, though, being the cryptid weirdo that he is, realizes that this is not some strange, mystical, mythological spiritual being, but a UMA, a giant Mongolian death worm to be specific, that must have been living under this house under the ground for hundreds of years. The Kito family begin doing their best Ginyu Force impression, chanting and dancing, declaring that they worship this great serpent and have brought it a sacrifice, when suddenly, the worm eats them all. Our three heroes quickly scramble into one of the houses when Gigi turns, seeing both Momo and Okarun quivering on the ground, holding their heads. Okarun transforming into his Turbo Granny form in this awesome, very kind of horror-like scene as he slowly crawls towards Gigi, growing in anger as the episode ends. Season 2, Episode 2 of DanDaDan picks up here, as Gigi struggles to defend himself from Okarun, who is acting completely nuts. DanDaDan once again in these scenes, leaving me speechless. Just when I think that DanDaDan cannot get even more unhinged than it already has been throughout Season 1 and the first episode of Season 2, we watch Okarun and Momo try to unalive themselves. Like, again, holy fuck, man. Just when I think that this anime actually can't be more unhinged, they continuously outdo themselves. Gigi desperately tries to stop his two friends from hurting themselves, as he assumes this must be the influence of the strange monster-like worm. Gigi wondering if this is the case, then why is he seemingly not influenced by it? Gigi frantically struggles to run away, hauling Momo and Okarun on his back, going full pro-tag mode. When we are then shocked to see a strange, freaky-ass Big Eye entity. This is revealed to be the Evil Eye, a malevolent yokai who Turbo Granny believes is the one that is causing people to unalive themselves. Momo and Okarun regain their sanity, the psychic powers of the Evil Eye canceling out the psychic powers of the monster worm, as Turbo Granny warns them not to trust this entity, that it will cause them to go crazy and die. Gigi, though, believes it wasn't the Evil Eye's fault what happened to his parents. The yokai looking him in the eye as Gigi gets a flashback to this being's tragic past, as we watch a lonely, frail little boy who is locked up in a shack longingly watch a group of children dancing and playing and having fun. The little boy wanting nothing more than to have friends of his own and to get to dance and play. We learn that this boy is a tribute to the volcano hundreds of years in the past, as we see the ancestors of the Kito clan leading this sacrificial ritual. The little boy being strapped to a pole as the volcano is erupting, the lava cascading down, consuming him, setting him ablaze. The boy in this moment thinking that just once in his life, he just wanted to play with others. The boy, though, is reborn as a spirit that continuously seemingly haunts this town and haunts the house that is built on top of the shrine, as the boy sees two parents and their young child, the young child being able to see the spirit boy. However, we continuously watch these parents unalive themselves throughout the years, leaving orphan children who are then sacrificed by the Kito family. It seemingly being the presence of the giant worm beneath the town that is causing these tragic deaths. After hundreds of years, the entity finally has enough of this, becoming this vengeful yokai spirit, desperate for revenge, the Evil Eye. Gigi, having seen this creature's tragic backstory, sympathizes with it and wants to help it, running down deeper and deeper into this underground town, understanding that its physical body must lie down below. Turbo Granny, though, warns Gigi not to show this creature any sympathy, as after all, it is a vengeful yokai spirit desperate for revenge. Gigi, though, being the kind person he is, doesn't listen, seeing the good in this spirit and saying, he is just like us. Suddenly though, the massive worm creature shocks Gigi and Momo, knocking Gigi unconscious, as Gigi sees another vision, a vision of this young boy. Gigi promising to play with him and to be his friend forever. However, this was seemingly all part of the yokai's plan. You see, Gigi is not only physically very strong and capable, but has awakened a massive latent spiritual power. The evil eye yokai spirit wanting to possess Gigi and gain this power in order to enact its revenge. Gigi, in this moment of sympathy, saying he will play with this creature forever, allows it to possess him, transforming him into this insane, demon-like Blue Lock protagonist character, as he unleashes his full soccer demonic spiritual powers, absolutely brutalizing this massive worm. These scenes 100% giving Blue Lock a run for their money in terms of epic soccer scenes. However, Gigi is completely gone, replaced by this vengeful spirit who wants to destroy all humans. And honestly, part of me doesn't even blame this spirit, as a good god did he get the short end of the stick. Gigi though lashing out, punching Momo in the face. Just as it seems like possessed Gigi is going to kill Momo, suddenly Okarun comes to the rescue. The two boys facing off against one another in a very edgy, epic anime boy pro-tag standoff. I mean, I'm getting Naruto Sasuke flashbacks with this scene. Will Okarun be able to defeat juiced up Blue Lock Gigi? Will Gigi be able to overcome this vengeful yokai spirit? We're just gonna have to wait until next episode of DanDaDan to find out. Episode 3 picks up here as the juiced up yokai Gigi and Okarun fight. Okarun desperately trying to protect Momo, grabbing her and frantically running away, as things are not looking so good for our heroes. Not only do they have to deal with a juiced up, jacked out of his mind Gigi, but they are also stuck deep within this underground lair, the lair of this Mongolian death worm that is slowly seeping and filling with poison. Okarun though remembers that the worm's weakness is sunlight. The only question is, how will they get out of this worm's lair? Okarun believes that there's only one real option for them to try. They have to try to get Momo out, and then maybe she can save them. The two then having this absolute adorable moment together. Goddamn, the love story between these two characters is disgustingly cute at times. I mean, legit, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Okarun transforms once again, launching Momo high in the air as she then uses her psychic powers to try to launch her the rest of the way, barely grabbing onto this legend time. Momo's scrambling to try and save them, but she fails miserably until she has a brilliant idea to set the house on fire. Meanwhile, the yokai Gigi finally finds Okarun, the two facing off in what is honestly probably the most badass fight scene of this entire series so far. I mean, this fight scene was legit badass as hell. I think it lasted nearly 5 minutes as well, which is pretty long, I think, for like DanDaDan standards. We also got some completely banger animations of Gigi just straight up kicking Okarun's ass as he frantically tries to scramble and run away. I love the way that they incorporate like Gigi's soccer playing like skills and abilities into like his attacks in this weird yokai form. I think it just looks awesome. It looks absolutely badass as hell. And it makes me just want to see a Gigi like crossover episode of Blue Lock. The yokai Gigi then finally uses his weird spirit ball powers to lock both of them together inside this tiny spirit house, where Gigi begins beating the shit out of Okarun. Just as it looks like this is the end for our nerdy little protagonist, suddenly he finally bucks up. My boy Okarun absolutely aura farming, saying that Gigi made 3 drastic mistakes. 1, he hurt Momo, a definite no-no, let's be honest. And 2, that the spirit violated his dear friend. This being some pretty major character progression for Okarun, who for like several episodes kind of up until this point was seemingly very mistrusting of Gigi. He obviously viewed him as a threat to for his chances to ultimately get with Momo, the two slowly starting to come together and build a friendship, but now here in this moment, he does acknowledge him as a friend. Not just a friend, but a dear friend. As suddenly we watch Okarun go full throttle, hitting the yokai Gigi over and over and over again, doing his best Dragon Ball Z impression as he continuously beats the shit out of him, throwing massive amounts of punches, 20 punches over and over again. There's no other way to describe this scene, I think, but like fucking epic. This really was kind of the first time in DanDaDan throughout season 1 and then so far in season 2 that we've really seen Okarun kind of rise to the occasion in very like anime protag style, really rise to kind of like overcome an overwhelming force. As well, I gotta say, the soundtrack in this fight scene is actual top tier, like a legit slapper. I mean, DanDaDan so far has had a banger soundtrack from both of its intro songs to all of the the soundtrack music that plays. But I absolutely love the action scene soundtracks in DanDaDan. We watch Okarun unleash one final punch, breaking Gigi's spirit house and then knocking him out cold. Okarun then giving us this badass line: "The third mistake you made was pissing me off." Okay, bro. I see you, my dude. My dude Okarun actually out here just straight up aura farming. While the yokai Gigi may be knocked out, they all aren't out of the woods just yet. Okarun has lost his Turbo Granny powers as he frantically tries to drag Gigi to safety, making a detour to find and save Turbo Granny when suddenly he gets stuck in this worm's sticky goo. Meanwhile, on the surface, we see that Momo has indeed set the house on fire, getting the fire department to arrive. However, a policeman asks her if she was the one who started the fire, and for some reason, she admits it? Well, Momo, it was nice knowing you. That will be 10 years in jail for arson. The last thing you want to do, my dudes, is end up in Japanese prison of all places. However, just as Momo is about to get dragged off to the slammer, suddenly the worm comes flying up, smashing up through the house, coming to the surface, as Momo remembers something that Gigi taught her when they were kids, that worms breathe through their skin, so they come out of the ground after it rains, and all of the water from the firefighters' hoses has forced the worm to come out. Momo then throwing the fire truck at the remainder of the house as we watch the worm dry out and die, its body exploding, leaving a pile of sticky goo. As well as the Keto family clan, who we see were still alive, living in its stomach apparently. The clan then chastising Momo, saying that she shouldn't have done that, as suddenly the ground begins to quake beneath them, shaking this little onsen village with a massive earthquake, as the giant volcano overlooking the town begins to violently erupt. Momo looking on in horror and panic as things somehow just went from bad to worst, as episode 3 of DanDaDan comes to an end. We pick up here in season 2, episode 4, as the ash from the volcano rains down over the village. The Keto family scolding Momo, saying this is why they would make sacrifices to the worm over the generations, because in their words, the great serpent protected the village from the volcano. Momo thinking back to the prophecy surrounding this volcano in the town. Dragon rising to heaven will cast a rainbow, and the wrath of the mountain will engulf the village. Momo realizing that this line, Dragon rising to heaven in the prophecy, has nothing to do with the worm, the great serpent, but was referring to the hot spring geyser. As if we remember back to episode 1, Momo saw the hot spring geyser erupting, casting a rainbow that overlooked the volcano. This geyser being an early warning sign that the volcano was due to erupt. The prophecy referencing this, something that the ancestors of this village knew, but over time, this warning, this prophecy has been misinterpreted. Momo, thinking quickly on her feet, comes up with a plan, as she uses her psychic powers to launch the dried out husk of the massive worm up the mountain. She then takes the worm's body, which after all is just a massive tube, and sticks it on top of the sputtering geyser, essentially turning this dried out husk of a dead worm into a huge, massive water hose, which is very much simultaneously both hilarious and also absolutely kind of disgusting, and I would say is like pretty on brand for DanDaDan as a whole. I mean, even in like the most serious moments of this series, DanDaDan as a show kind of has a way of still making things absolutely utterly ridiculous and hilarious. Momo begins spraying water across the mountainside, attempting to halt the spread of fires from the volcano's lava and magma. However, she is suddenly stopped by the crazy Keto clan, who can't bear to see their great serpent lord disrespected. Just as the family is rushing Momo, suddenly the young priest from the town shrine, who wanted to be a bootuber, appears, throwing a flying kick. The monk telling her he will handle these bozos while Momo puts out the fire. The priest revealing that Momo's hot grandma is actually his master and teacher, and that earlier on she informed him that the group of our heroes here were coming to town, but he just thought Momo was a weird tourist. Momo continues to put out the fire when suddenly the body of the big worm is destroyed by a flash of purple, as the yokai-possessed Gigi appears, attacking everyone in sight. The last time we saw Gigi, he was knocked unconscious by Okarun, but it seems he has fully recovered and is still hell-bent on destroying humanity. Meanwhile, Okarun, though, is nowhere to be found. The The unlikely group of allies, the Keto clan, Momo, and the priest, then work together to avoid Gigi's attacks, as my man is giga powerful and it literally takes everything they have just to avoid them getting killed. All this energy and effort though has tapped out Momo's psychic abilities, right as Gigi launches a powerful kick at her face. Just as it looks like this is it for Momo, suddenly an unlikely ally once again comes to her aid, as we see the Kappa Mantesian from earlier episodes steps in just in time, throwing punches at Gigi. This show really loves baiting us in with like attacks on Momo. I mean, they've already done it like twice, 2 times in this episode, and they did it once before, I believe at the end of episode 2, when Gigi in his juiced up yokai form went to attack Momo, but then Okarun suddenly steps in at the last second. I swear I'm never going to believe that like Momo is ever in any danger if they keep doing this trope and they keep like, she always keeps getting saved here at the last second. It is then revealed that Mantesian is not alone. The cavalry has arrived in the form of Momo's sexy grandma, Taro the cursed mannequin, and Mantesian's son flying a fucking flying saucer. God damn, do I love this anime. I mean, like, what an absolutely insane sentence to utter, especially, like, if you didn't have any context. Like, imagine watching this episode of DanDaDan with zero context of what this anime is about or, like, what has happened with these characters. Like, it's absolutely so insane, it would just come off like a complete and utter fever dream. We watch our girl sexy grandma fight Gigi one-on-one, actually managing to hold her own, when she sends the sprinting mannequin Taro to attack him. Gigi easily punching it to pieces, but this was all a trap. Inside the mannequin, Grandma had placed a spiritual talisman, the young priest chanting a ritual which then seals the possessed Gigi inside the reforming Taro. Meanwhile, Chiquita in the flying saucer is singing a little song while using the worm to continue to put out the fires. Momo, though, freaks out, realizing that Okarun is still nowhere to be found, remembering that Okarun risked his life to save her, so that she could then save him and Gigi. Momo rushes back to the spot where Gigi's house was destroyed, only to see it filled with hot magma. She desperately wants to save Okarun and wants to rush into the magma, but if Okarun was actually in this magma, he would most certainly be dead and likely burnt to a crisp. Yet Momo is still willing to risk death to do this. God damn, man, go find yourself a partner who loves you like Momo does. She is a real one, guys and gals. Chiquita then uses the flying saucer's gravity beam to lift the magma out, dumping water on it to harden it. Momo quickly pulls it apart, revealing a heavily burnt and hurt, but still alive Okarun alive on the inside. As if you remember the last time we saw Okarun, he was desperately trying to save Turbo Granny, when suddenly they were encased and stuck in the worm's sticky goo. This goo then shielding them from the magma, hence how he has not been burned to a crisp. It is here we get what is easily the most wholesome and, I would say, cute scene of this entire series so far, as Okarun falls into Gigi's arm, his head pressing against her. As like the little dork he is, he suddenly pulls away out of embarrassment when Momo, to his surprise, reaches out, gripping him in a hug, tears streaming down her face. Momo apologizing, saying that she was supposed to save them, but she couldn't do anything. Momo being so thankful that he is alive, as she had begun to come to terms with the idea that he was dead, and that she had been able to save him. The two sharing this adorable, wholesome, cute as fuck moment that actually brought a tear to my eye and warmed my icy heart, as Season 2, Episode 4 of DanDaDan comes to an end. Episode 5 opens as we see the gang back at home chanting and singing as they attempt to exorcise the evil eye from Gigi, but this ritual continuously fails. Later on, we see everyone gathered around the table for dinner, even Ira, who is upset that she didn't get called to go on this mission to the mountain. DanDaDan does this like weird funny thing here in this scene, really any scene I think where they introduce like a big kind of food meal for the first time on the show. Whenever they show the food, they actually show like a real life meal, a real life, IRL version or picture of the meal of the food before they eventually animate it and show it in the show. I don't know, it's super weird and funny and is kind of just straight up on brand for an anime like DanDaDan, which is absolutely insane. This scene is just absolute chaos. Everyone is chatting away amongst each other, being the weird, kooky, insane characters that they are. Mantesian talking about weird alien things, while Okarun loses his mind because he's an alien fanboy. Ira is freaking out about how adorable Chiquita is, while sexy grandma is talking about how they are going to remove the curse from Gigi. All the while, Turbo Granny is attempting to sneak food from the table and just be a little menace. I absolutely love scenes like this in DanDaDan. There's like just so much going on here, so much happening here on the screen. Like, they really put a ton of thought into these kind of scenes in DanDaDan whenever they're animating it. Like, you can just see all of these little interactions happening on our screen. There's just so many things moving on our screen. Like, these types of scenes are really subtle, but actually really interesting and very complex when it comes to animation, and I really do love them, and I appreciate stuff like this in this anime. I think it's just awesome and hilarious, and just overall kind of adds to the absolute chaos, really the main kind of theme of DanDaDan being this chaos comedy. You then watch Taro pop a piece of food in his mouth, as suddenly he freaks out about how hot the food is. But weirdly though, this is Gigi's voice, and we even see Gigi's mouth moving. However, Sexy Granny wants to make sure that it's not the spirit tricking them, so Taro opens up his face to reveal Gigi, making a weird, dorky as fuck face. Yeah, Gigi is such a strange character, man. Like, he is so weird and dorky. Like, I really forget just how much of a complete, like, absolute weirdo and dork this character is, because at the same time, he's, like, attractive and a badass and, like, you know, super physically fit and like into sports. I really just forget how much of a weirdo he is though, especially until this episode. However, to the gang's surprise, this really is Gigi completely back to normal, who cries happily at seeing that all of his friends are okay. Sexy Grandma then splashes Gigi's face with cold water, as we are shocked to see Gigi once again be possessed by the evil eye. Sexy Granny theorizing that it is apparently exposure to water of different temperatures that changes Gigi back and forth. Cold water turning him into the evil eye, and hot water turning him back to normal Gigi. Gigi again emitting absolutely complete dork and weirdo energy. Turbo Granny then laughs at them, telling them that their barrier around Taro is not going to contain the evil eye, as the evil eye was a mountain spirit, one of the most powerful spirits in Japanese folklore and mythology, these spirits generally revered as gods. Which you would know if you watched any of my videos over one of my favorite animes of Summer Anime 2025, the Summer Hikaru died. Just saying. Sexy Granny then decides to make a plan. Until they can perform the exorcism on Gigi, everyone will carry around thermoses of hot water, just in case, God forbid, Gigi ultimately get exposed to a cold liquid and turning back into the evil eye. Gigi having to be extremely careful around any liquid he comes into contact with. The gang then decided to take Gigi to go see his parents, who are recovering from their incident in the hospital. Momo and Okarun sharing another absolutely adorable, disgustingly cute scene together in the backseat of the car. Okarun getting nervous at accidentally touching Momo's hand, Momo then pulling his hand closer, holding his hand, the two of them blushing nervously until they are interrupted by a yelling Gigi, as they quickly and embarrassedly pull away from each other. Yeah, it definitely seems like the Okarun-Momo ship is definitely beginning to kind of set sail here in these absolutely disgustingly cute as fuck scenes. However, knowing this anime, I can't wait to see how this budding little romance eventually gets derailed, as there's absolutely no way that a rom-com like DanDaDan will have these two getting together this quickly, this early on into the series. But honestly, I could be wrong, who knows, maybe by the time the season 2 finale rolls around, we will see them kissing or something. Regardless, I have to say that I absolutely hate myself for how invested I am in this adorable little love story. We then flash back over to the mountain village town as we see the leader of the Kito family, the weird, strange woman, running away from the police in the forest, as the woman is completely pissed off at having her hands foiled by Momo, when, shockingly, we see her rip her face off. As it is then revealed, she was not a normal woman after all, but some strange bug-like creature, as she vows to get revenge on Momo Ayase. The next day, Okarun and Momo go to school together, getting tackled by Momo's friends who were worried sick about them. We also see Aira at school, who is being shunned by many of her classmates and friends for having spread the rumors about Momo. Okarun and Momo then find her though, pulling her off alone for a conversation. Aira being her classic asshole self when it comes to dealing with Momo, but being lovey and close with Okarun, setting up a hilarious classic kind of love triangle, most likely between these three characters. Momo, though, has something that she wants to ask her two friends, asking them if they'd be willing to stay over at her house and keep an eye on Gigi in order to keep him from transforming. both Okarun and Ira desperately wanting to accept this offer for different reasons. Okarun because of course he wants to stay the night and be close with Momo, and Ira because of course she wants to be close to Okarun. Again, setting up a very classic funny love triangle scenario, which I'm sure won't go wrong at all in the next few episodes. Back at the house, Gigi is finally released from Taro as the spirit tags could no longer hold him. Gigi having to again be extra careful around any water before the eventual exorcism, as the other three finally arrive home from school. Gigi again being super happy to see them, acting like the complete dork and weirdo that he is. Later that night, they all sit around the table for dinner together, as Momo and Ira actually seem to start bonding a little. Gigi and Okarun saying that they want to play some Smash Bros together. But of course, in classic DanDaDan fashion, you know that something is about to go horribly wrong. Okarun passing the soy sauce to Sexy Granny, this scene teasing us that Gigi might get splashed with the liquid, only for Granny to tell him that this is the wrong soy sauce. Okarun then passing the right soy sauce to her, which then drips on Gigi, as suddenly a flash of energy and purple light erupts from him, as the evil eye is once again free. Season 2, Episode 5 of DanDaDan finally coming to an end. Episode 6 picks up here as the group frantically try to get hot water on Gigi to turn him back, but not before the house gets absolutely smashed to pieces. Suddenly though, a strange Omega glam group of rock stars show up at the family's front door. This being revealed to be the group known as Hayase, the group that Grandma had sent for in order to help aid in the exorcism, a badass over-the-top rock band who rock so fucking hard their sound managed to penetrate the spirit realm and are able to help aid in exorcisms. As we watch the band set up their stage, hooking in their equipment as they begin to rock out. Now, this might be one of the most absolutely insane scenes that I've seen from, I think, maybe any anime ever, which makes it pretty on brand for an anime like DanDaDan. This really actually saying something, as DanDaDan is one of the most unhinged, insane, random as hell, over-the-top anime that I can remember in some time. As we watch this glam metal Japanese rock band begin their explosive performance, the group rocking out, headbanging as they listen along. Grandma headbanging as well as she continues her exorcism ritual on Gigi. Again, these scenes are absolutely amazing and stunning, and I think that this scene as a whole really encompasses everything that makes DanDaDan such a unique anime. Again, it's absolutely insane and over the top as fuck, while having all of these hilarious little moments of comedy and character interaction that kind of all take place in the background. Meanwhile, the entire time we see Gigi getting exercised. The animations are absolutely beautiful and stunning, and the music, goddamn dude, does the music freaking slap. Legit, if I was trying to, explain DanDaDan to someone, explain just how over-the-top and insane this anime was, and really just how ridiculous it is, I would probably show them this episode and this scene specifically with absolutely zero context, as I think that this scene specifically really captures everything that I personally love about this anime. Back to the episode, the exorcism is going really well. In fact, too well, as Gigi screams out for them to stop. As deep down inside, Gigi does not want the evil eye to be destroyed. As if we remember, Gigi, because of his massive heart and just overall the fact that he's a good-ass guy, felt sorry for the evil eye and promised that he would play with him and be his friend. As at the end of the day, this yokai spirit is just a sad, lonely little boy that has been corrupted. Gigi wanting to be able to bond with him. And just like that, Grandma grants his wish, canceling the exorcism and the glam rock concert. In order to allow Gigi to keep the evil eye inside of him, Momo and Okarun vow to get stronger, to keep the spirit under control and keep Gigi from going insane. Gigi now having to go through intense spiritual training if he is going to allow this yokai to stay inside of him. This outcome, I think, was pretty obvious, even without, having read the manga or, knowing spoilers. It seemed pretty obvious that they were setting up Gigi to be the newest member of the group with, supernatural powers, as right now, he is the only member of the group without any kind of spirit or supernatural powers, so it really seemed kind of obvious that ultimately he was going to learn to try to control the spirit of the evil eye to use this transformation to help the group in all of their supernatural escapades that they go on. As Grandma says, if Gigi becomes strong enough, he can learn to control his powers and he will be able to keep the evil eye at bay all by himself. The group then settle back into their adorable little kooky family life together, the house still in absolute tatters as they all try to sleep in the cold. Gigi feeling bad that all of this happened because of him, as Okarun explains that he doesn't need to apologize, This is what families do for each other, and that when Okarun was first possessed by Turbo Granny, he came to the Ayase family for help. And later, when Okarun tried to repay them, Sexy Grandma said if he really wants to repay them, he can pay it forward to someone in the future who is in trouble. This being a really big kind of bonding moment for all of our characters together, as the episode title is something along the lines of like, we're now a family, and we can really see that this bond is really starting to form between all of these characters, really into one big happy family. We see some more cute, funny scenes of the group going about their morning routine, Ayase doing her makeup, them having breakfast together, and just bickering with one another. The three kids heading back off to school as Gigi waits at home. Here, Momo decides that she's going to get a part-time job and help pay to rebuild the house. Something that her friends think is hilarious because it's not like Momo is the most reliable person in the world. After school, Momo's friends corner Okarun, saying that they are all going on a date together, as we get some hilarious scenes of the girls dragging Okarun across town as he struggles and tries to resist. Okarun not wanting to go on a date with these girls because, well, obviously he's in love with Momo. Finally, the girls manage to drag him to a cafe. A maid cafe. As to Okarun's shock, he sees Momo dressed up in a maid outfit. Momo blushing in panic and embarrassment, as this is the part-time job that Momo signed up for. Her friends, knowing this, dragged Okarun here to see her in one of the funniest and most ridiculous scenes of DanDaDan so far, as episode 6 comes to an end. Episode 7 of DanDaDan opens here, as Okarun awkwardly hangs out with Momo while she is working at her part-time maid cafe job. Momo doing an absolutely horrible job at being a maid, which feels pretty on brand for her as a character. Okarun blushing furiously and being hella awkward at seeing Momo in a maid outfit. Okarun wants to wait for Momo to get off work so he can walk her home, but she tells him just to go, even though you can definitely tell that she wants him to stay. We see a funny little montage of the rest of Momo's day at work as 10 o'clock finally rolls around. Momo walking onto the night street as she looks from side to side, hoping that Okarun would be there waiting for her. Just as she accepts that he is not there, Okarun finally comes running up to her, ready to walk her home, as he reaches out to hold her hand, then pulling away awkwardly. Momo deciding to take it, the two holding hands and walking home together in this absolutely adorable scene. Back at the Ayase home, we see Gigi is continuing his spirit energy training. Sexy Grandma deciding it's time that they put him to the test, as she splashes room temperature soy sauce on him. Gigi struggling, but barely managing to hold back the evil eye transformation. While this is good progress and Gigi is a prodigy, Grandma still thinks that he has a long way to go, but this is a good step towards getting Gigi back to his regular life. Momo and Okarun finally arrive home, warming themselves up from the cold, as we watch them take the hot thermoses of water. Gigi and Ira excitedly rushing to them, bumping into one another, Ira spilling her boba drink onto Gigi. They all quickly try to splash warm water on him, but before they can, Gigi transforms into the Evil Eye spirit using his spirit house to block the water, trapping him and Momo inside. Okarun and the others can only watch on in horror as Evil Eye is about to beat the absolute shit out of Momo, but she manages to use her spirit powers in time to hold him back, even if just for a second. Evil Eye though is too strong, fighting back. Reaching out, he attempts to choke Momo. Momo, in a last-ditch effort, spitting out the hot water she drank when they got home onto Gigi, transforming him back. Gigi, now back to normal, looked down at her, absolutely horrified at what he was about to do to her. Okarun pushing him out of the way to check on Momo. Gigi in this moment seeing the spark that is beginning to grow between Okarun and Momo. Later that night, Ira and Momo are in their bedroom, Momo reading a boxing manga, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be a reference to Hajime no Ippo, which is a absolute banger anime and manga, by the way. Ira apologizes to Momo, saying it was her drink, so it was her fault, and she almost got her really hurt, and she'll be more careful next time. Meanwhile, we see that Gigi and Okarun are in a bit of an awkward situation. The next day, Okarun goes and visits Mr. Mantis, the alien, wanting him to teach him how to punch. But Mantis refuses, saying violence is not the answer, as he puts Okarun to work. Okarun, though, is still desperate to learn how to punch, as he thinks that this will help him defeat the Evil Eye. Okarun arriving home late that evening, and again we see this awkward rift beginning to form between Gigi and Okarun. Manjiro then talks to Sexy Grandma, saying that they have no option but to call for the Hayashe again and do the exorcism. Manjiro believing despite Gigi's powerful spirit, it is impossible for him to control the Evil Eye. Later that evening, we see Okarun has taken Momo's boxing manga and is trying to use it to learn how to throw a punch. Now, this is definitely a reference to Hajime no Ippo, this scene almost being one-to-one from Hajime no Ippo. And to be fair to Okarun, this manga and anime is a pretty shockingly realistic depiction of boxing and boxing techniques. Turbo Granny then finds Okarun practicing and asks him why he wants to learn to punch. Okarun saying he wants to become stronger and that he's been pissed off, and he wants to beat up Evil Eye. Turbo Granny asking if he wants to become stronger or learn how to punch. Okarun not understanding the difference in the question. Granny then deciding to take Okarun to the school to train him to get stronger, as Ira sneaks along with them. Ira and Turbo Granny getting in a shouting match, Ira transforming into her yokai form as she smacks around Turbo Granny in this very obvious JoJo's reference. Granny then takes them to the music room where she explains why Okarun is so weak, that Okarun's combat rhythm is slow compared to the others, and he can only do 2 combat switches per 1 beat. Meanwhile, Ira can do 4, and Evil Eye can do up to 10, showing just how stronger and faster Evil Eye is compared to Okarun. Suddenly, though, the group are interrupted by the yokai spirits of several famous composers as the episode ends. Episode 8 opens here as Okarun and Ira frantically scramble to stay alive after being attacked by these spirits of classical composers. Ira being in perfect rhythm, able to dodge this bullet hell attack with ease, while Okarun struggles getting hit by several of the flying notes. Turbo Granny tries to knock some sense into him, saying he needs a sense of rhythm and timing, or he is never going to be able to dodge these attacks. Okarun struggling as he doesn't listen to music and he has no real sense of rhythm. It's then he remembers the Song of the Heihachi, the epic rock ballad flooding into our ears once again, as it finally seems to click with him as he remembers the rhythm of this song, just in time as Ira has found herself stuck and is about to be struck down by these notes when Okarun comes flying in and out of nowhere, saving her just in time. The banging song Hunting Soul caressing our eardrums as Okarun seamlessly dodges the attacks. Ira managing to pull down one of the composers and smashing its head off. This is just the start though, as suddenly the composers change songs. Okarun and Ira finding themselves transported into an opera hall as Beethoven's Fifth Symphony begins to play. Several towering, horrifying opera singers emerging out of nowhere as they begin to sing. Thousands of shadow men flooding out of their mouths, charging towards them like some scene out of World War Z. Our heroes begin to be crushed and overwhelmed as the musicians continue to play all the way on the back of the stage behind these massive giants. Ira manages to pull them out of the massive crowd of these zombie-like apparitions up on top of the giants, as the opera singers strike out at both of them, Ira saving Okarun but being smacked giga hard in the process, Okarun then charging towards the musicians. Ira gracefully dodging the giant singers as she manages to take them all down one by one. These scenes are like absolutely insane, bro. Like, what is this fever dream? How is it even possible for someone to cook up something as insane as this? Like, this is very much DanDaDan at its finest. This is like peak DanDaDan, just the most insane, over-the-top shit that like anyone has ever seen in an anime. This is some shit that I swear only DanDaDan could cook up and make it actually good and actually freaking epic at the same time. Somehow, it's absolutely peak. We then watch our boy Okarun go full Ultra Instinct mode, my man seeing the Matrix putting everything he has learned together, as he frantically scrambles through the oncoming massive illusions, dodging bullet hell after bullet hell musical note attack. Okarun finally achieving 5 switches per beat with his newly found rhythm, as with his last full throttle he charges forward, tearing through all of these spirit musicians, knocking their heads off. With the spirits defeated, the classroom returns back to normal. Okarun thanking Ira as he could never understood rhythm without her. Ira and Okarun having this very adorable scene together, as we can't forget all of the love triangles going on in this anime, that Ira is obsessed with Okarun, meanwhile Okarun is only obsessed with Momo. Turbo Granny then ruins the moment, hilariously explaining that if you play the piano at 2 a.m., it summons these spirit musicians, and that she's always trying to think of ways to kill the kids. But also you can tell that she actually does want to help Okarun get stronger and better understand her powers. Meanwhile, back at the house, we see that Manjiro is confronting Gigi, saying that he has to do the exorcism now and remove the evil eye, as at this rate, someone is going to die because they can't keep the evil eye in control. Momo tries to push back, saying that Gigi has been training his spiritual power, Gigi very obviously being sad about this turn of events, as again he wants to try to save the evil eye. Suddenly though, we hear Okarun's voice ringing out, demanding Gigi come outside. Okarun with this serious look in his eyes, my boy now becoming a full anime protag. Okarun wants to beat the shit out of Evil Eye, as he was pissed off when Evil Eye hurt Momo, and that he is pissed off even more so at his own weakness, his inability to defend the people he cares about, as we watch him transform. Iris splashing water onto Gigi, Okarun dashing forward as Evil Eye is unleashed. The two of them striking each other in this badass as hell scene as episode 8 comes to an end. Episode 9 opens with Okarun and Evil Eye's epic fight scene, the first 2 minutes of this episode being filled with high-octane fight scene goodness, as Okarun meets Evil Eye blow for blow, his training very much paying off as he goes all out, weaving and parrying Evil Eye's attacks, actually beating him down with his own, getting in multiple good shots on Evil Eye, Okarun actually winning this fight. Okarun finally unleashing a full throttle, smashing into Evil Eye, sending him flying, blowing up Momo's house in the process. As Okarun stands emerging from the rubble, now in his human form, having exerted all of his energy. I just have to say that these animations and fight scenes were hella badass, probably the most badass fight scene animations we've gotten from DanDaDan so far. I mean, my boy Okarun really out here in his full anime protagonist arc. Evil Eye also emerges from the rubble, bloodied, but with a massive smile. The yokai having the time of his life, fighting Okarun, wanting to fight him forever. My dude is literally just Goku.
Hey, it's me, Goku!
Despite Okarun easily winning this fight, he can no longer transform. The rest of the team wanting to intervene to help him, but Okarun comes up with a hilarious plan. As to everyone's shock, he calls Evil Eye weak, as the two begin bickering back and forth. Evil Eye begging Okarun to continue to fight with him, Okarun saying that he will fight him again, but only on specific conditions. They will fight once a week, as long as Evil Eye promises not to hurt anyone else and to only fight Okarun. The young yokai throwing a bit of a temper tantrum, but ultimately agreeing to the bargain, giving Okarun his underwear to the shock of all of the girls as a sign of good faith. Okarun having realized earlier that Evil Eye is like a child, and he won't harm anyone else if Okarun can make him focus on him. Evil Eye then transforming back to Gigi, who begins to tear up with emotion, until this heartfelt scene is hilariously interrupted by sexy grandma.
Nice team!
You have a poison in your mind, and the fact that you can't see it makes me so sad.
Gigi can now seemingly return back to a normal life, as they don't have to worry about Evil Eye trying to destroy humanity anymore. Gigi's parents arriving, picking him up, taking him home. With the Gigi problem solved, there's no reason why the rest of them need to stay at Momo's house. As Okarun begins to leave, saying goodbye to Momo, we get this absolutely adorable scene between these two characters. Momo blushing, asking if that's all, seemingly wanting Okarun to either kiss her or just say something else. And then of course, in classic DanDaDan fashion, the moment gets hilariously ruined. With everyone gone, the Ayase family have a new problem to deal with. Their house has been completely destroyed. The girls deciding to have a spa onsen day of relaxation, returning home later to find a strange Minecraft Steve-like alien creature waiting for them. They are surprised to see that Okarun and Ira have returned with Mr. Mantis and his friend Mr. Ludrus to help rebuild the Ayase household. Sexy Grandma refusing their help until they manage to guilt her into letting them help. Ludrus using a strange cube-like substance that can transform into anything you think of to rebuild the house as good as new. Again, Mr. Ludrus is obviously a reference and a joke to Minecraft and specifically Minecraft Steve, as we can tell this from the character's design and the fact that he uses strange blocks to construct whatever he wants. Okarun is happy they let them help rebuild, as the Ayase home has become very much like his own home in the time taking care of Gigi, this little group very much becoming like a little happy family. The next day, Momo and Gigi walk to school together, Gigi finally being able to live somewhat of a normal life, even though he says he has transformed into Evil Eye a few times, but the yokai has kept his word and hasn't hurt anyone. Gigi randomly asking Momo if she is in love with anyone, catching Momo completely off guard, as we obviously know that she is likely in love with Okarun, but she quickly changes the subject. Suddenly Gigi is mobbed by a group of his fangirls from school, as of course this character would have fangirls. One of the girls offering him a drink, which he takes, the beverage making him turn into Evil Eye. The rest of this episode is some classic DanDaDan comedy, some classic DanDaDan shenanigans, as Evil Eye refuses to transform back into Gigi. Evil Eye then living out a normal day of Japanese high school with Momo, beating up some people in soccer, being obsessed with vending machine drinks, threatening other students, and sloppily munching down a bunch of food. Later, Momo's friends ask her what's gotten into Gigi, one of them playfully suggesting maybe he got haunted from the housing complex ghosts, as they show Momo a picture of a strange golden ball that's been seen around their housing complex. Momo realizing that this is Okarune's missing ball, as episode 9 of DanDaDan ends. Episode 10 opens as we see the morning routine of one of Okarune's classmates, a strange, weird as hell nerdy dude. This kid acting like he's the coolest, most handsome, and badass guy in the world. My man singing his heart out and dancing as he walks to school in a series of scenes that have already become a banger meme overnight. My man's confidence is sky high. This dude exudes aura at a level that no other mortal man could even come close to trying to possess, at least until he is around any other person. As we watch him go from singing loudly and confidently strutting around dancing to mumbling this song under his breath as soon as he gets close to school and any other student. Meanwhile, we see Okarune is also walking to school. My man completely nervous and straight up overthinking, saying good morning to Momo. Okarune being classic Okarune and completely clueless to just how much Momo really likes him, as he sees Momo has been waiting outside of the school for him to arrive. My dude, instead of saying hi to her, decides to completely ignore her, trying to go down the alpha Chad route apparently like an absolute idiot. Fellas, homies, my dudes, my brothers out there, let me give you a little piece of advice. If you like a girl, especially a girl that you also happen to be friends with, just talk to her, man. Like, I know that DanDaDan is a romance comedy anime, a hilarious one at that. And I know that they really want to milk this kind of, will they, won't they relationship between Momo and Okarune. But god damn it, bro, do I just want to grab these two and just shake them silly sometimes? Mainly Okarune. Like, I swear my dude is actively trying to fumble this bag. Momo, being the true alpha of this little relationship, says hi to Okarune, as the nerdy guy looks on in jealousy. In class, we see Okarune chillin' reading his weird paranormal books, the nerdy guy in the back of the class watching him with disdain. At lunch, Okarune goes and tries to find Momo to hang out, while Momo goes and tries to find Okarune. The two, in classic rom-com fashion, keep missing one another, walking past each other several times and going to all of the places they both just were. Meanwhile, the nerdy guy is following Okarune around from a distance. Unable to find each other, both Okarune and Momo sulk. Okarune thinking that Momo is avoiding him and he's just being friend-zoned at best, while Momo thinks that possibly she was too forward. This is when we realize that both of them are sitting maybe, 20 feet from each other, not realizing that the other is there, as both of them continue to mope and sulk, thinking about worst-case scenarios, when in reality they should just talk to each other as they both really like each other. Meanwhile, the weird nerdy guy is sitting across from Okarune the entire time. With lunch almost over, both Momo and Okarune get up, continuing to sulk, trying to walk back to class when they bump into each other, their lips meeting in the most hilarious accidental kiss scene I've ever seen. The nerdy guy looking on in horror, completely stunned. I have to say, as infuriating and oftentimes cringe these scenes were, as I just want to shake both of these characters silly and be like, god damn it, you both like each other, you freaking dumbasses. Just date already and get it over with. These scenes were hilarious, and on top of that, they were hella cute. And I definitely didn't expect the payoff of like this series of funny kind of rom-com scenes to be the two of them accidentally kissing one another. Back in class, the nerdy guy is hella pissed at Okarune, the kid constantly trying to get Okarune's attention by standing in front of him, reading, and then parading around with his Gundam figure. But Okarune completely no-sells him like the true Giga Chad that he is. Finally, the nerdy kid must resort to his secret technique to get Okarune's attention, singing at him. As he declares Okarune is his enemy. The kid not understanding how Okarune is so popular with the girls, especially Momo. Momo then comes bursting into the scene out of nowhere, telling Okarune that she has found his other family jewel. The weird kid hearing Momo talk about family jewels and golden balls, thinking that she's just making raunchy jokes, as he now believes the secret to being popular with girls is, in his words, spicy talk. Suddenly, the class president interrupts Momo and Okarun, as she thinks she is coming to Okarun's defense, asking Momo to leave. The two girls getting in a bit of a catfight with one another, as Momo is definitely not going to take that shit. Meanwhile, Okarun and the nerdy kid can both stand by in shock as they watch these two girls basically fight over Okarun. The nerdy kid butting in, making a weird joke, as again, he believes that spicy talk, aka raunchy jokes, are the way to get popular. Momo responding simply, "Do you want to die?" After school, Momo and Okarun head to the community block where the golden ball was seen. Momo telling Okarun he's become pretty popular now because he's been pretty cool lately. The nerdy kid continues to follow them, wanting to learn the secret technique to Okarun's spicy talk, and wanting to be cool and lovey-dovey with girls like Momo. The boy getting caught following them in the housing complex, when suddenly out of nowhere he gets lifted up off the ground and thrown towards Momo. Okarun transforming, blocking him from hitting Momo, as in the distance they see the floating golden ball. Both of them running after it, dipping and diving through the complex, realizing that something invisible must be holding the ball. This invisible creature fighting them off as they chase it onto the roof. Momo then gets a absolute crazy idea as she tells Okarun to hold on to her, as she jumps off the roof, using her psychic powers to hold on when suddenly the ball slams into them, sending them flying towards the ground. Momo managing to use her powers at the last minute to cushion their fall, but that definitely will leave a few bruises. They then hear the nerdy boy scream in the complex above them, as the two then rush back in to save him. The boy, wanting to be cool, jumps in to help, launching his secret move, his jet stream attack. While this boy is a dork and an idiot, he is not completely useless, as he realizes that whatever this thing is, it's using some kind of cloaking device, and if they look at it from 3 separate angles, they'll actually be able to see it. As once again all of our characters go chasing the golden ball through the housing complex in a completely hilarious over-the-top scene. Momo reaching out with her powers, grabbing the creature, as Okarun goes full throttle, knocking it out of the building onto the ground. Thank God no one seems to live in this complex, as if they did, their house would now be completely destroyed. They look down, not seeing the golden ball anymore, but a strange kaiju Godzilla-like creature, as they decide to go down and check on it. However, as they walk away, suddenly the creature begins to grow to a colossal size, a true full kaiju Godzilla size, as the creature stands looming over the city. Season 2, Episode 10 of DanDaDan coming to an end. Episode 11 of DanDaDan opens here, as the massive kaiju begins attacking. Momo, Okarun, and Kenta desperately running for their lives. Ira and Gigi are nearby. Hearing the commotion, they come running over to try and help, as they turn, seeing the massive creature bearing down towards them, all of them screaming in terror in this hilarious scene. Kenta gets knocked to the ground in the chaos, begging for help, Okarun and Momo managing to save him just in time. Gigi takes Kenta and starts running to safety, while Ira transforms, attacking the massive space kaiju, as the creature unleashes a lightning energy attack, the creature letting out a deafening roar. Ira continues to attack it, throwing a car at the beast, while Momo goes for the legs, Ira being caught off guard when the beast suddenly grabs her. She manages to escape with the help of Momo, as the two girls continue to bicker back and forth. The creature, meanwhile, continues to destroy the city and rain down attacks. Momo manages to deflect the creature's lightning back to it, knocking it down. Ira goes in for the finish when suddenly the creature vanishes. Ira begins to gloat, not realizing that the kaiju has turned invisible, as she takes an energy blast to the face. Meanwhile, Gigi is running away, carrying Kenta to safety, the boy completely covered in sweat and snot as he is sniveling and crying about this insane situation he has got himself into, and the fact that he is being saved by a handsome guy like Gigi. Suddenly, some of his sweat gets on Gigi, triggering his evil eye transformation, but Gigi manages to channel his spiritual energy and stop it. Well, at least he stops it for a few seconds until more of Kenta's sweat flies off of him, hitting Gigi, forcing him to transform. Evil Eye Gigi running off to find Momo, thinking that today is the day that he gets to fight Okarun. Meanwhile, Ira is passed out from taking this energy attack point blank. Okarun going full throttle, barely managing to save her in time, as the three frantically run back to Momo's house to get help. However, Sexy Grandma is out of town, so it seems like they're all on their own for this one. Evil Eye Gigi then arrives, wanting to fight, but they manage to convince him to calm down and wait. The kaiju then begins heading towards Momo's house, when Okarun comes up with an idea, that they can use the nanoskin technology they used to fix the house to somehow defeat the space kaiju. Okarun attempting to reshape the entire house with his imagination, as suddenly though it begins failing. Kenta, though, like the science fiction giga nerd Chad that he is, steps in, taking over, as we watch the house suddenly begin to transform into a giant Gundam mecha-like creature in this absolute hilarious scene that is very much a reference to basically every single Godzilla movie and every single mecha Gundam-like anime out there, and I absolutely love it. A mecha that also kind of looks like the Buddha, thanks to Momo's mental contribution, as all of the kids now sit inside piloting this giant mecha Buddha as the kaiju continues to approach, setting up a showdown between this space kaiju and mecha Buddha as episode 11 of DanDaDan comes to an end. Last time on DanDaDan, our heroes, in a desperate attempt to defeat this massive rampaging kaiju, went full Gundam mecha, transforming Momo's new house into a giant Buddha mech, teasing a showdown against this massive kaiju. The DanDaDan Season 2 finale opens here, all the kids in a panic sitting in the giant mech, as they have no idea how to control it. Kenta, being the sci-fi Gundam mecha nerd that he is, steps in, checking the manual, Momo declaring they all just push random buttons at the same time, which goes, well, exactly as you'd think. We then get this hilarious 5-panel shot here, and I absolutely love this scene. It's so funny. Obviously, DanDaDan is poking fun at classic mecha anime like Gundam, Power Rangers, you name it, and it's funny as hell. Suddenly, the mecha takes a step, falling flat on its face. The Saiju kicking it, sending the mech flying, as it grabs the mech with its tail, swinging it around. Okarun's seat ejecting from the mech. Evil Eye also escaping when he is suddenly crushed by the kaiju. Of course, Evil Eye is giga strong, so we watch him lift the massive beast's foot up, sending the creature tumbling. Evil Eye being insane, wanting to fight Okarun. Meanwhile, the massive kaiju starts pumping its electrical attacks into the mech, while this very Godzilla-esque music begins to play. The kaiju moves to crush Okarun, but he is saved by the Buddha mech, as Kenta has finally figured out how to control it, as all he had to do was visualize the mech's movement. As being a mecha pilot, a protag in a Gundam-like anime was Kenta's dream, as we watch the nanoskin of the mecha Buddha begin to change into a shining gold form. A very obvious reference to, again, Gundam, specifically the shining form that the Gundams take. Kenta basically graduating to our main character, giving off massive protag vibes as he does battle with the massive kaiju, unleashing all of his named special moves, as of course you have to shout out your special move name before you do it, as the tide of the battle has suddenly switched. These scenes were absolutely epic, and the animations were so good. I never would have guessed I'd be watching a mecha kaiju battle in DanDaDan of all animes. Suddenly though, Kenta gets caught off guard, as the kaiju is about to zap him close range. We are then taken into a flashback as we see Kenta at school getting made fun of by everyone for being an otaku, as he fawns over his Gundam figure, everyone calling him gross, getting bullied by these kids at school. Back in the present, the mech goes flying, severely damaged, as Kenta struggles to stand, the scene in the flashback mirroring these scenes in the present as we move back and forth between the two. In a very over-the-top dramatic as hell scene that is very classic DanDaDan. Kenta manages to turn the tide once again though. Suddenly though, the kaiju goes invisible, beating the shit out of the mech. However, they are suddenly saved by Momo and Ira, who both use their powers to subdue the kaiju. Momo power-bombing the creature as it transforms back into its small size. Suddenly though, the scene changes as they move out of this weird pocket plane that they were in. The town shifting back to normal, all of the buildings no longer destroyed, as everyone in the town looks up at this massive robot in the middle of their city. Momo with her imagination quickly turning the robot into a UFO, flying it away, turning it back into a house. Momo and Ira getting sick as Kenta cries tears of happiness at getting to pilot a robot and be the protag in basically a mech anime scene. Okarun in the city watches all of this as the townsfolk gather around the now normal-sized beat-up kaiju. Okarun grabbing Evil Eye, giving him a meat bun, which turns him back into Gigi. The boys grabbing the smaller kaiju, frantically carrying it back to Momo's house. Kenta comes out of the house, meeting them there. My man's ego is massively inflated as he demands answers from Okarun. Okarun explaining the situation with the golden ball as Kenta promises to lend them his powers. Okarun then looks inside the kaiju's mouth, discovering something strange. A piece of a person. He reaches inside, finding a zipper, as he unzips the kaiju, which is actually a suit of some kind, revealing a hot alien girl? The girl and Okarun then look at each other with that kind of look. Momo and Ira then come crawling out of the house from being sick, when to Momo's shock, she looks up, seeing the alien girl kissing Okarun. Momo's mind being completely blown, her heart broken, as Season 2 of DanDaDan comes to an end. And yes, this was DanDaDan Season 2 in a nutshell. What an absolute roller coaster journey that was. If you did somehow manage to make it to the end of this very long video, then I really do appreciate you. And if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as that is the easiest way to support me, and it really does go a long way in putting this video into the algorithm. Let me know in the comment section down below, what was your favorite moment for Season 2 of DanDaDan, and do you think DanDaDan Season 2 is better than Season 1? If you did enjoy this video, guys, then why don't you check out some of my other anime content on screen now, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, guys. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.